Hello. I've been a vegan for I think 3.5 years, maybe. And before that, I was a vegetarian for 9 years. And before that, I ate meat and I loved it. It was super yummy. I still love the smell of bacon, but I only ate meat for at least like 3 to 5 years at the tail end there that I knew where it had come from. And the more I learned about where it came from, the less I ate. And ultimately, the less I enjoyed it because very slowly eating bacon wasn't a yummy brunch thing or breakfast thing. It was eating a pig. So I directly connected the food I was eating with the animal it came from. And that said, I don't think the whole world is going to be vegan tomorrow. So the number one tip I would offer today from my experience being vegetarian, being vegan, and eating meat and loving it is that mindful meat eaters, people who do care about animals and like to eat them, and vegans and vegetarians should all be united in boycotting factory farms. So if you're out at a restaurant and you don't know where it's coming from, don't eat cheese, don't eat meat. Cheese is just as bad because it's the huge conventional dairy operation is actively torturing animals. I won't go into it, but if you're curious, I might hint that there's like repeated, basically rape of these cows. They have scabs, they have pus, they have open sores their entire life on their very sensitive nipples, and their children are taken away from them. But I'm not going to go into all that. And there's lots of studies like cows have their best friends. Cows have deep affection for their children. And same with pigs. Pigs, as most of you know, are very intelligent. They're smarter than dogs. And I have a dog who I love, Redford. I love him to death. No sad pun intended. And if someone ate him and killed him, they would be arrested, and rightly so. So why do we treat pigs differently? Obviously, it's just a kind of weird cultural thing. And obviously, some cultures eat horses. And if I owned a horse and I had a ranch and someone came up and shot my horse and ate it, that person would be arrested. So animals are sentient beings. Are they humans? No. But they are sentient, feeling, intelligent, to varying degrees beings. And just as we respect the rights of all human beings, we need to learn to respect the rights of all animals to not be tortured, to not be killed. If we are a meat eater and we are going to continue to do so, we can change the world for the better by only eating grass-fed beef, by knowing the sources. So that's number one. Number two, and this is a tip for vegans, is don't add to the bad reputation of vegans, which I don't think is really deserved. All the vegans I know aren't strident vegans who yell at everybody and think they're better than everybody. It's really helpful when you're talking about veganism to open up your heart and not think of yourself as perfect and everyone else as, below your soapbox down there. So I always try and remember that, a lot of the vegan substitutes that I use that are yummy, they have palm oil, which is directly wiping out jungles, forests that have rhinos, that have or had orangutans, tigers. So a lot of vegan stuff isn't vegan. I wrote about that in one of those blogs. If you're vegetarian, you're not vegetarian is what's the title? If you're a vegetarian, you're not vegetarian because you're directly killing animals through dairy and eggs. I don't know if you know, but most of the male chicks, when they're cute little chicks, like the kind on the Hallmark cards, they just get suffocated or smushed or put in bags and killed because they have no use. They're not the right breed or size for meat chickens. So they're just killed when they're cute little chicks. That's for dairy production because they have no use, right? They're the boys. And then, every single dinner I ever have, there's this joke about vegans that goes, how do you know if someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Well, my response to that is actually it's almost the opposite. Every single dinner or lunch or whatever I go to, if I'm ordering and I'm saying, oh, can I make sure to get this vegan, blah, 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 I have to say vegan to the waiter or waitress so they know what to do. Just as a gluten-free person needs to say that, You have to be direct to just save them time and make it clear so you're not returning and wasting food. As an environmentalist, I don't want to waste good food. So I do have to say I'm vegan, but the interesting thing is I never really bring it up and tell my meat eating friends that they should be vegan. They always ask me, they always say, hey, why are you vegan? And I always kind of play it down a little bit. I say, well, you know, just I blog about this stuff. I've learned a lot of things. You know, I know not everyone's going to be vegan. I think the most important thing that we can all agree on is number one, is to boycott factory farms. And usually that's it. It's very pleasant. And you've opened them up to remembering not to support factory farms, which all of us, whether we think we're doing or not, are doing if we're eating meat or cheese out at restaurants, particularly. It's easier to have control of what you're buying for on the home front. And then the third tip I would offer is I don't see, and this is a tip for would-be vegans, is I don't see being vegan as a sacrifice at all. I loved bacon. Do I miss it? I really don't, because I associate it with pigs now. Do I enjoy smelling it if I'm passing by a house? Yes. But I really don't miss it. I am 190 pounds. I'm super active. I climb, I do yoga, I run, I bicycle every single day. I work like a maniac. Some of that energy may be fueled by coffee, but most of it is just I feel great and I eat good quality real food and I know where it comes from and I enjoy it. And I just have to say that compassion is not a sacrifice. Compassion fills me with, or love fills me with warmth, and I enjoy trying to be responsible. So yes, I can't have my sushi. And yes, the first time I realized I couldn't have my sushi, I pretty much stormed out like a tantruming 2-year-old out of my favorite sushi place, realizing I suddenly couldn't eat most of the menu. But ultimately, now I go there, I have this great big tofu thing with sriracha and veggies and brown rice. It's delicious. It's healthy, almost like a Chipotle meal. I go to Chipotle, I go to lots of local restaurants, and everyone's really nice about it. I am self-deprecating about it, but I'm also not embarrassed about it. And I explain, if someone is genuinely curious, I'll go into it. Yesterday, I'll leave you on this note, since this video is getting long. I watched a video of cows in a factory farming assembly line being pushed by a machine forward until their head went through a thing, and then the machine coming together, locking their head in, and then again and again, they would get stunned or killed, and then their dead bodies would slide down this thing, and then they'd get hung from the air, but sometimes they wouldn't be stunned or killed properly, and they'd still be alive, and then they'd be skinned alive. This stuff is horrific, even to meat eaters. This is just not how a killing should happen. There's screams of terror and panic all over the place. They're pooping and peeing themselves out of terror. They may not be as intelligent as humans, but they know what's going on. And if you can support small farms and more mindful, responsible farms, that is a huge step for meat eaters. So this is really just to say that if it's out of sight, it may be out of mind, but it's not out of reality. And cause and effect is literally the definition of karma. If we are causing something and we can't even watch a 2-minute video about what we're causing, then something's out of whack. And that out of whack is not good for us, and it's not fun. So let's enjoy life, whether we're a meat eater, vegan, or vegetarian. Let's try and take one step forward toward genuine love, non-aggression, and compassion. Thank you so much, and I hope this was somewhat useful.